we just got a massive update surrounding the Los Angeles Lakers. And while it does not directly involve LA, it indirectly involves them, and therefore it puts them in a pretty tough situation to operate at the trade deadline, as one of their top candidates might be off the trade market pretty soon. And that's going to cause Rob Pelinka and the front office of the Lakers to pivot and try to find some potential replacement options for a certain coveted 3-and-D player. And welcome to Lakers Digest here, guys. My name is Hunter Pitcoff. We cover everything, and I'm not joking, everything surrounding your Los Angeles Lakers. If you haven't already, guys, stop what you're doing right now and just subscribe to the channel. We are, as of this recording, only just a couple away from 3,300 subscribers. Last month, we hit the coveted 3,000. We've gotten almost 300 subscribers in the month of December alone. We're building some momentum, and that's a big part of the reason is you guys. And if you're watching the video, you like what you're seeing, just hit that subscribe button. You can be the one that got us to 3,300 before the end of the new year. That's going to be a big deal to us. And with that being said, I don't want to hold you up any further here. Let's just talk about today's video. A huge trade update, and this is way worse than what we thought for the Los Angeles Lakers. And if you've been watching a channel or keeping up with the Lakers, you know that this is a team that is looking to buy, and they are under so much pressure to do so. The Lakers, don't look now, are in 6th place right now as of this recording in the Western Conference. They are building a ton of momentum and do have an opportunity to even climb up higher if they keep playing some good basketball in the Western Conference standings. However, there is also a chance, though, that they can slip because it is so close, the margin is so slim, and this is an imperfect roster. They are a couple moves away, in my opinion, from really having a well-balanced team that can really compete out west, and who knows, even compete further and win a championship. But they're going to have to make some moves to do it. There's one player in particular that the Lakers have been coveting for probably the last 2 years, but a lot of teams have, and it seems like the Lakers might not be the front runner in the race anymore, as the Memphis Grizzlies and the Brooklyn Nets are in active talks right now to land Dorian Finney-Smith. Now, guys, nothing is set in stone yet, right? So, as of this recording, nothing has actually happened, but we do have some insight from a very well-respected NBA insider in Mark Stein. On his show, he talked about the Memphis Grizzlies and the Brooklyn Nets pursuing this move and updating a story he had on Thursday. The Memphis' pursuit of Dorian Finney-Smith, league sources say there are active discussions between the teams on the trade scenario. In the story, John Conchar and Luke Kennard to the Nets for Dorian Finney-Smith. That is what he is hearing. And to double down on that point as well, the Nets are known to be seeking a first-round pick from the Grizzlies in any deal involving the veteran swingman DFS as well. You know, the Memphis Grizzlies right now, they're a team that's playing really good basketball. They're 22-10. And they already have a nice young core there with Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Desmond Bane. So perhaps this is actually a team that wants to build on that young core, add some veteran leadership. A guy like Marcus Smart they got last season. They can add a guy like Dorian Finney-Smith, who could be the perfect 3-and-D player for that team, the slot in between a Jaren Jackson Jr. and that talented backcourt with Morant and Desmond Bane. So, wow, that is really good for the Memphis Grizzlies, and that is definitely a great move for them. It's going to help them compete, and they're in the 2nd seed. Perhaps they're going to try to push for the 1 seed, which the Thunder are holding on with a strong grip right now in the West. That's horrible news for the Los Angeles Lakers, and therefore, this is a guy that would absolutely fit the Lakers' billing here. If you want to look at DFS's stats from this season, it's nothing that's going to blow you away, but he's the perfect definition of a complimentary player. He's also played in 35 playoff games as well, predominantly with the Dallas Mavericks. This season averaging 10.5 points per game, 43.5% from 3, shoots 46% from the field. As you can see here as well, 98% of his threes are assisted, and 67% of all of his shots are threes, and 40% of his threes he shoots 40% from corner threes as well. So, with the 6'7" size, about 215, 220 pounds, he's the perfect definition of a 3-and-D role player in today's NBA. He can guard just about any position 1 through 4, maybe even the 5. They're playing some small ball out there, but he's predominantly going to be guarding your team's best perimeter offensive player, taking on that responsibility while still providing you some options with three-point shooting. And when you have a team like LeBron with LeBron and Anthony Davis in LA, that's the exact perfect player you need. However, it's looking like the Lakers are not going to be the only bidders because a lot of teams think that DFS is their missing piece, and it seems like the Memphis Grizzlies right now might be the front runner to land him. So that'd be a great move for Memphis. However, though, a very bad move for the Lakers. On top of that, too, the Grizzlies are out west, so that's going to be another team that they're going to have to deal with, especially if they land a guy like Dorian Finney-Smith. But that does bring us to a final point here. Is this the end of the world? Is the roof collapsing? Are there other trade targets for the Los Angeles Lakers? Well, I came up with a couple guys that are wing players that aren't necessarily the same players Dorian Finney-Smith, but still do provide some value as well and could be some nice options for the Los Angeles Lakers. And one player we are going to start off with is actually on the Brooklyn Nets, and I think a lot of Laker fans might even arguably want him more, and that's going to be Cam Johnson here. Now, Cam Johnson, while the Brooklyn Nets are 12th right now in the Eastern Conference, they are not having a good season. He has had a phenomenal season here, averaging 19.5 points, shooting almost 43% from three, nearly 50% from the line. Also a really good free throw shooter as well. And if you look at the numbers here, 58% of his shots are threes and 90+% are assisted threes. So Cam Johnson offensively is a much better player than Dorian Finney-Smith. Like, Dorian Finney-Smith's not going to average more than 15 points a game for you, like, pretty much ever in his career. He's a better defensive player, but Cam Johnson is younger. He's a better scorer. He's also got a pretty nice mid-range game as well. While he's not maybe the same size weight-wise, I do think he's bigger. He's about 6'8", 6'9", as it says. He's also 28 years old, whereas Dorian Finney-Smith is on an expiring deal, and he's 31 right now. So you're going to be trading for a younger player with more offensive upside. However, with that, while yes, a better player, and I think would be a bigger swing for the Lakers, Cam Johnson is also going to cost you more money. So if the Brooklyn Nets are looking for at least a first-round pick, and let's say Luke Kennard and John Conchar, the Lakers are going to have to pay even more to get a guy like him. They're going to have to probably give up a first-round pick, maybe multiple second-round picks, and perhaps a player they really like. It could be a Rui Hachimura, D'Angelo Russell. Gabe Vincent has been playing a little bit better. Like, one of those guys is just going to have to go in order to get a guy like Cam Johnson on this roster. Whether that's worth it or not, I think is debatable. I think Cam Johnson is better than all those players. I think he would come on this team, and he'd be at least the third, if not fourth best player. Maybe you can argue Austin Reaves would be better. I don't think they'd have to give up Dalton Connect, Christie, or Austin Reaves in a deal to get him. Those are, outside of LeBron AD, the three players I think the Lakers value the most on the trade deadline. And they might not even have to give up Rui Hachimura. I think that the Brooklyn Nets just want future assets, whether it is tradable contracts, expiring contracts, and or draft picks. Probably the draft picks is what they want the most. The Lakers have two of them to trade. And on top of that as well, they have an expiring deal like D'Angelo Russell and an expiring deal like Jalen Hood-Schifino. Those are two contracts that the Lakers could give up to potentially land Cam Johnson here. And so that's an expensive option for the Lakers. If they're going to be shopping high end on the trade market, that's a guy that they should definitely look for because his shooting is great and he's got great size and still 28 years old, right in the prime of his career is Cam Johnson. However, one more player that if you're shopping more on like the dollar menu, trying to get a nice value deal, this is a guy that I think the Lakers should definitely target. That's going to be Cody Martin for the Charlotte Hornets. He's only on the books for $8 million this year, and next year has a team option for also $8 million. So if the Lakers don't really want to commit to him, they don't have to. He's 30 or going to be 30 years old next year in 2025. So right in the prime of his career. Again, the contract's cheap. Does not shoot the three ball nearly as well as Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, only shooting 31% this year, and he's really not a great career three-point shooter. However, he's never played with a LeBron James before and an Anthony Davis. He's played with LaMelo Ball, and so that's a great passer, but he hasn't always been healthy as well. So Cody Martin is a really solid basketball player. He plays good defense. At least according to here, he's listed at 6'5". I think he might even be a little bit bigger, to be honest, but he's a very solid perimeter defender. Like you see, averages a steal a game as well. Does play really good within a system of an offense. And again, guys, we also have to be fairly realistic here as well. If the Lakers swing big and they miss on a Cam Johnson or a Dorian Finney-Smith, even a Brandon Ingram, a guy who I didn't mention. This is someone they might have to settle for, and it might not take much to get him. Could be just Gabe Vincent and a couple second-round picks potentially, or even 1 second-round pick to get Cody Martin. Like, that is potentially an option for the Los Angeles Lakers, because the Hornets, it seems like they're heading in the right direction, but they're not quite there yet. They're still trying to acquire more talent to build around LaMelo Ball, to build around Brandon Miller, and Cody Martin at 29 years old just doesn't quite fit that deadline and exactly where the Hornets are going, because most of their best players are under 25 years old. So a guy like Cody Martin doesn't really fit there. However, he would be a nice option for the Lakers, someone who gives you solid offense and defense, kind of similar to a Taurean Prince, which I know Laker fans roll their eyes at, but guys, he was a pretty good player and fit pretty well with the Los Angeles Lakers last year. But again, guys, like I said, it's looking like by the minute that Dorian Finney-Smith more than likely may be heading to the Memphis Grizzlies and not to Los Angeles Lakers. And Rob Pelinka, he's going to be under a lot of pressure to make a move. And if it's not Dorian Finney-Smith, perhaps swinging big for Cam Johnson, or maybe getting a guy like Caleb Martin, or sorry, not Caleb, not his twin brother, Caleb, Cody Martin from the Charlotte Hornets. And maybe they can get a Nick Richards as well, or they can get Cody Martin while also focusing, rather than going all in on one player, they can get Cody Martin and then try and make another trade with another team perhaps to land another big man or to land another guard. So they could kind of fill multiple needs at once without just going all in on one player. But let me know down below in the comments what you guys think. Should the Lakers be super upset and discouraged about Dorian Finney-Smith, or should they just start pivoting toward other players and maybe even have better options than DFS? But again, guys, I'm going to just say it one more time. By the time you're watching this, we might already be at 3,300 subs. I don't even care, though. Let's keep getting that number up. We're going to keep raising the bar here as we enter 2025. I believe in us. I believe we have what it takes to be a great channel. And I say we because it ain't just us. It's not just me and my co-hosts, Okechi Opakama and Nick Goss. It's all of us. We're all part of Lakers Digest. We're growing together. We're growing the channel together. And we are one community here talking about our Los Angeles Lakers. So, Rob Pelinka, if you're listening, make a move. If it's not DFS, go get somebody else. There's plenty of good players to get out there on the NBA trade deadline or trade market.